All right, let's talk some more Super Bowl props. We've divided this into two parts because BETDAQ's offering 80 prop markets. So we covered a few of the general and team props a couple of days ago. I believe I had 5 or 6 recommendations there. Now I'd like to talk about some of the player props. 51 player prop markets currently on BETDAQ. I have chosen 5 bets that I like. Let's get right down to it. Let's start with Randy Moss, wide receiver for the San Francisco 49ers. Now Moss, who a couple of days ago declared himself the greatest wide receiver ever, he's well past his prime, really wasn't a big part of the San Francisco offense this year, only caught 28 balls in the regular season. However, I think his over-under for total receiving yards is set a little low here, set at 34.5 on BETDAQ. Now, if you like the over, which I do, you do have to pay for it a little bit. The over currently being offered at 175. That's minus 134 American odds. But I think that's a reasonable price, and a couple of reasons I like the over. For one, Randy Moss has been a little bit more involved in the postseason. He's caught 5 balls in the 49ers' 2 playoff games, again, after only catching 28 in their 16 regular season games. But the main reason is because when they look for Randy Moss, they look for him downfield. Michael Crabtree has become Colin Kaepernick's go-to guy. For most of the short and intermediate routes, Crabtree is the guy Kaepernick looks for. But he still looks for Moss on occasion down the field, and Baltimore, even though they've played well in the secondary in these playoffs, the secondary is their weakness on defense, and I do think they're going to be paying more attention to Crabtree and even Vernon Davis than Randy Moss. So I think there's an excellent chance Randy Moss goes over 34.5 receiving yards. Let's talk about the tight ends now. Dennis Pitta, the tight end for the Baltimore Ravens. Vernon Davis, the tight end for the 49ers. Both of these guys, I like bets involving whether or not they're going to score a touchdown. As far as Pitta goes, I think yes, Dennis Pitta will score a touchdown is a very reasonable bet considering it's priced at 268. That's plus 168 American odds. Of course, no is favored here. The no is 149, and it's very unpredictable. It's who knows? There's a lot of guesswork in whether or not some guy's going to score a touchdown, but Joe Flacco, Pitta's one of his favorite targets. Flacco's been looking for him a lot in the postseason. And I do think the 49ers secondary is going to be paying close attention to that Baltimore deep ball. I believe that if Baltimore is going to beat the San Francisco 49ers, they're going to have to do it with the deep ball. Joe Flacco throws one of the best deep balls in the NFL. And, of course, Torrey Smith, a real downfield threat. That means, just as we've seen in this postseason, there's going to be a lot of opportunities for Pitta, and I think there's a good chance he scores a touchdown in this game. So I like yes, priced at 268 for Dennis Pitta scoring a touchdown. As far as Vernon Davis goes, the San Francisco 49ers tight end, I'm going to go in the other direction. I like no. And again, you have to pay for it here. 1.5 minus 200 American odds for no touchdown for Vernon Davis. But I think that's reasonable. Again, it's always guesswork in terms of whether or not somebody's going to score a touchdown or not. But I think Vernon Davis is a little overvalued here after his huge NFC Championship game. People think that Vernon Davis is a little bit more integral to this offense than he actually is. In the 10 games that Colin Kaepernick has started at quarterback, Vernon Davis has only caught 2 touchdown passes. Now, one of those was in the NFC Championship game, but still, only 2 touchdown receptions in 10 games. And in 6 of those 10 games, Vernon Davis had 1 reception or fewer. Now, we know the 49ers offense has evolved into more of a run-first offense with Kaepernick at quarterback, even though they led the league in rushing before Kaepernick took over. But no doubt the read option and the quarterback run has become more a part of the San Francisco offense. Vernon Davis, his opportunities have been more limited with Kaepernick under center than they have with Alex Smith under center. He's had a couple of big games last week against Atlanta, and there was a regular season game, I believe, against the Chicago Bears when he broke out. But as I said, 6 out of the 10 games with Kaepernick at quarterback, Vernon Davis has been held to 1 reception or fewer, so I think there's a great chance he does not score a touchdown in this game. I like no on a touchdown for Vernon Davis at 1.5 or minus 200. Let's talk about Colin Kaepernick. I just mentioned that running threat of Kaepernick that is ever present, and it's a big reason the 49ers are averaging almost 6 more points per game with Kaepernick under center than they were with Alex Smith. However, the total here for over-under rushing yards for Colin Kaepernick at 43.5, and I think that's a little high, and I like the price. Most people seem to think that that's a little low. Most people seem to think Kaepernick's going to go for over 43.5 rushing yards. So under is being priced at 235 on BETDAQ. That's plus 135 American odds, and I like that bet. Listen, I firmly believe that Colin Kaepernick's 181-yard rushing game against Green Bay in the divisional round, that made every defense is going to play him not only for the rest of this season, meaning last game and this game, but next season. I mean, that's going to wake up a lot of defenses. That showed that not only is he capable, not only is he a real running threat, but he can beat just solely with his legs. I mean, rushing for 181 yards, NFL record for a quarterback in any game. Because of that, I liked, backed, and won on the under in Colin Kaepernick's rushing yards in the NFC Championship game against Atlanta. I figured correctly that the Falcons were not going to let that happen to them. I believe Kaepernick only had 21 or 23 rushing yards in that game. Of course, he killed Atlanta with his arm. I'm not sure if he's going to kill the Ravens with his arm. The Ravens do have a better secondary than Atlanta. I do expect this game to be somewhat low scoring. But I tell you what, I really don't think he's going to kill the Ravens with his legs. I think there's a better chance of him beating Baltimore with his arm like he did against Atlanta than with his legs, because with 2 weeks to prepare, this veteran Baltimore front seven, having seen what this guy can do, what he did to the Green Bay Packers, I do not think they're going to be letting him run much. I expect Baltimore to have success defending this read option. I think there's a better chance of Frank Gore having a big game rushing than Colin Kaepernick, so I do like under 43.5 rushing yards for Kaepernick, and again, that's priced at $235 on BETDAQ. The final player prop I like, Ray Rice. I think Ray Rice, the guy, is being overlooked here. Just read something today about how in Vegas, a prop that's seen a lot of action is the under for total rushing yards for Ray Rice. I believe it's set at 63.5 or somewhere like that. I'm not sure about that. I think people are sleeping on Ray Rice a little bit. I know the 49ers have a great run defense, but don't forget, Ray Rice is one of the premier running backs in the league. This is obviously the biggest stage there is, so wouldn't be surprised if Ray Rice broke free for a couple of big gains on the ground. He's also involved in the Baltimore passing game. So I like yes for Ray Rice scoring a touchdown. Again, a pretty good price here. You can have yes at 216. That's plus 116, a little bit better than 1-to-1 for your money. No is priced at 172 for Ray Rice scoring a touchdown. I think there's a good chance Ray Rice scores in this game. As I said a few minutes ago, I know that there's a lot of guesswork involved with what player is going to score a touchdown, and there is. And I know Bernard Pierce has been getting a lot of work in the backfield this postseason. But whether it be out of the backfield, whether it be catching the ball out of the backfield, running it, I think there's a good chance Ray Rice scores in this game. I like the price here, $216, so I'm going to go with yes for a Ray Rice touchdown. So there you have it. Those are my 5 player prop bets. Randy Moss over 34.5 receiving yards at 175. I like Dennis Pitta, yes for a touchdown at 268. Vernon Davis, no for a touchdown at 1.5, minus 200. I like Colin Kaepernick under 43.5 rushing yards at 235, and yes for a Ray Rice touchdown at 216. Well, there you have it. I'm on Baltimore in this game. I'm on the under, which I like a little more than my Baltimore plus 4 bet in this game. And I'm involved in either 10 or 11 props, so there's going to be a lot of meaningful plays for me in this game. I hope that's going to be the case with you, and I wish you best of luck in whatever you do in this Super Bowl, just so long as your interests don't conflict with my interests.